Hello and welcome back to another video. Today here again on Gran Turismo 7. Today looking at the most interesting of the four cars from the most recent update, which didn't include all that much for not that interesting cars and no track, but the most interesting of which is this Maserati Merak, a car most famous for being in Top Gear's Cheap Italian Classics episode, which is available for 75,000 credits here in the Legendary Cars dealership, alongside one of the other new cars from this update, another Skyline. For some reason it's brown from standard, which is particularly a shame as the interior is two-tone brown and other brown. Anyway, we'll fix that later. It has a nearly 3-litre naturally aspirated V6, producing 216 horsepower, and weighs just 1,420 kilos, which puts it at 422.29 performance points here in Gran Turismo 7. The Merak was essentially a baby version of the V8 Bora at the time, which meant it was lighter and better handling, although being a car from the 70s, it still doesn't handle very well and has brakes made of cheese. So we probably need to go and upgrade it a bit, sort out that horrible colour, although unfortunately we can't fix the interior, and then see what it's like after that. So like almost every other car in Gran Turismo 7, there is actually a wide body available for this, but for one of the few times I'm not actually going to do it, because it's a classic car, it sort of ruins it, it doesn't actually make that much difference, and it costs 50,000 credits. The same thing goes for the custom parts really, although there are some, there's only front and wing, and I don't really want to ruin the classic. The only thing I do really want to do, I will quickly check these, but I probably won't do those or the plates, except we can have rear only, which always looks better. What I am going to do, though, because it is required when your car is brown, is to change the colour, which is probably the only mod I'm really going to do to it. I'll do some upgrades, but in terms of visuals, this is really what I want to do. So I have already bought some Maserati colours for this. I think we can go to... That's easier now that I have quite a few. So I've bought a few. So we have the A6 GCS 53 Spider Red, so very, very classics. Although none of these are gonna... It's still got a brown interior. Anyway, let's try and not worry too much about that. We've got a slightly brighter red, which I feel like might be a better option. Or we've got Giallo Gran Turismo, which I'm not sure with the brown. I also bought a couple of blues, because I feel like they might work quite well. I mean, that's a really nice colour, actually. But I'm tempted by... No, I think I will go with one of the blues. I think the slightly greener one. Yes. So I was trying to balance the upgrades so that they were sort of light upgrades, but got to a sensible number. So I've tried to aim for 550 performance points. As you can see, I'm just over. But I've made my usual mistake. I've bought nothing from Extreme, but I started in the sports category, thinking I won't do much. And then I've ended up buying more than one of the same thing, because the sports air filter is of course redundant once you buy a racing one. Anyway, starting from the racing page, from here I have the silencer, the air filter, the intercooler and the polish ports, and fully customizable suspension. From semi-racing I have the silencer, the computer and the crankshaft. Ignore the suspension because we've got the better one, and I do have this clutch, and a fully customizable limited slip diff, and the fully customizable manual transmission is also in there. From Club Sports, ignore the ones I've already bought better versions of, so ignore the camshaft. We have done the bore up though, and the high compression pistons. Ignore the suspension and the flywheel. We have better ones of those already put in. And brakes. No, the brakes of the Club Sport ones. It's confusing trying to remember which one's redundant. I'll show you in the tuning menu in a second. Most of this doesn't matter anymore from this sports tab. So here in the tuning menu, all that I've done is put the power restrictor at 99% to drop the performance points to 549.02, rather than the other thing, rather than the ECU, because the ECU puts it a little bit lower. That's the only reason I've done that. And then here you get a better idea of what's actually equipped. We have the sports tyres, fully customizable suspension, fully customizable diff, both of which I haven't tuned, fully customizable ECU, which I've left alone, performance adjustment where I've put the power restrictor at 99, fully customizable transmission, none of this stuff. We don't have a turbocharger and therefore no intercooler. Racing, air cleaner silencer, and normal manifold. Sports brakes, sports pads, normal handbrake, normal balance, semi-racing clutch and flywheel, and normal steering. And here you can see the other bits that we have installed. So as I usually try to do, I've looked for a race this car would be suitable for, but as I've quite often done, I've tuned it to 550, which isn't a number that's commonly used. There's a few championships for that, but none of them really are for classic Italian cars. So I've gone for the Sunday Cup 500 at Deep Forest Raceway, which I'm probably going to win quite easily, but it's an event I haven't done, and I always like to try and at least use the new car for something in these videos, taking a first look at it. So away we go in our not brown Maserati, which is a huge improvement. Like I say, this should be easy, past the Gulf already. And it means we return to this classic circuit, which I haven't actually used all that often recently. Actually, if we go bonnet cam, then we'll get the nice colour from the exterior without the brown seats. Oh, dashboard, you can't see the seats. Although it's a bit faster, it doesn't really feel like it handles that much better, which is a bit scary. Although we are faster than it. Don't squeeze me into the wall, Renault. Third. Second should be dealt with before the braking zone. Actually sent it on me. And then he's going to park right in my way on the exit. Thank you. Alright, just one more to catch. So I think, in retrospect, what I probably should have done with this car is built it to 500. I know you wouldn't get many upgrades, but I feel like it would fit slightly better there. And it would be sort of a lightly modified classic that you can use in these races. Probably be more controllable and feel more kind of how it's supposed to, which I always like to keep in things like this. As we go past the AMG into the lead. Or not. My brakes are better than his, I didn't need to brake that early. I was going to say not that it matters because I should have him on the exit, but I think he's faster. So not quite that easy victory I promised, but anyway. Fun to at least race this car, but yeah, it's not brilliant. That might be my tune, of course. And that probably is going to do it for a first look at the Maserati Merak SS here on Gran Turismo 7. As a whole, I'm not too pleased with this update. I mean, there's 4 cars, which is better than 3, but the 4th one is essentially a replacement for a circuit that we should have had. So not the best update, not the most exciting selection of cars. We had this, which, like I say, is the most interesting. We had another MX-5, which we've kind of already got. We had another GT3 Nissan GTR, which is just a couple of years newer than one we have, but is worse. And we have that classic Nissan that I showed you in the legendary dealership alongside this, which is quite a nice car as well, but we have lots of Skylines and Japanese things, so that's why this was the most interesting to me. But none of them particularly exciting cars, if I'm being honest, and no track and not a lot else added, which is becoming a bit of a theme with these updates, although to be fair, a lot of other games, Forza, do similar sort of things and add recycled stuff pretending it's new, for example. Anyway, as for the car, it's a cool thing to have. The Merak isn't really in a lot. Like I say, I hadn't really heard of it outside of that Top Gear episode on classic Italian cars that they did long ago. But yeah, it's a cool addition. It's fun to drive stock. It's slow and wobbles about, as you'd expect from a 70s car. Upgraded, it's not great, although that might be more to do with the tuner than the car. But it's a fun little thing to have and to race, although not necessarily going to be competitive for anything. But yeah, I've enjoyed giving it a quick look, and, well, respraying it in a colour that isn't brown, although unfortunately the interior still is. But anyway, for a first look at the Maserati Merak SS here on Gran Turismo 7, that is going to be all. So thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with the next video very soon.